Dear colleagues, greetings from Russia. I'm Eduard Ponarin, the Russian representative. Russia has been a part of the value survey for several decades, whereas I only have been involved since 2010. Thanks to the World Value Survey project, we have a long series of observations, which gives us a great opportunity to trace value change in the world. And Russia, in particular, has been going through a fascinating process of social, political, and ideological transformation. There are many aspects to this complex process, and I will only briefly dwell on just one that I studied, having to do with happiness. Happiness in Russia declined in the 90s to a level characteristic of the poorest countries in the world. Obviously, it had a lot to do with plunging living standards and declining security in many domains. But the decline also depended on political attitudes. Those who were left on the left-right scale were particularly unhappy in the 90s, whereas happiness of those who were right stopped declining just when the liberal reforms started. Thus, the fit or lack thereof between one's political preferences and the political situation on the ground is a factor contributing to happiness. Since the 90s, happiness in Russia has been recovering. Between 2000 and 2008, the recovery of happiness went hand in hand with fast economic growth, which was going at the rate of about 7% a year. But since 2008, the Russian economy has been stagnating. Nevertheless, happiness levels continue to increase, peaking at about the time of the last wave of survey, which in Russia happened in December 2017. Analysis of various factors of happiness shows that rising national pride is the most important factor explaining happiness change in the past 2 decades, even in the absence of economic growth. In fact, contribution of material well-being to happiness has declined in Russia since the 90s. It is true at the individual level as well as for cohorts. Younger cohorts in particular are happiest and most proud of being Russian. Thus, ideational factors continue to affect happiness as they did in the 90s, even though certain ideals have been now superseded by others. And Russia does not stand alone in this interesting transformation. Poland in particular, and some other post-communist countries, also demonstrate declining salience of the left-right divide and increasing salience of national or nationalist ideologies. Latin American countries that remain about as happy as are the much more affluent Nordic countries also point out to non-material factors of well-being. And thus, World Value Survey remains a unique source of inspiration for social scientists and students of social change across many countries and over a long haul. Thank you all for contributing to this wonderful project. It is great to be on board.